kommt schon der letzte Verhandlungstag, denke ich mal. Good morning, Max. Oh, yeah, good morning, sweeties. You don't seem like your usual sparkling self today. I'm always like this before I go in front of an audience. I'm working up to it. Teehee? Wie jetzt Teehee? Oh, sie.
Don't get nervous, Maxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Regina.
How fabulous! My sweetie pie princess. You came to watch my performance today.
Of course I did. Mo told me that I should come and watch this.
Mo said that.
So what kind of performance will you put on today? Let me guess, you'll fly at the end?
It's not that kind of show. Isn't that right, my sweeties? Huh? I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't... Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on, or even where she is.
Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain.
Jetzt habe ich sie wie Monokuma klingen lassen.
I'll see you later. Today, I'm just a member of the audience, because I'm secretly Monokuma.
Fabulous. Enjoy yourself out there.
Good luck, Max. You're the best.
Regina's different, don't you think, Nick?
Top of the morning to ya. Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go?
Mo.
Top of the morning to you, Governor.
Top of the morning?
That's the ticket, and taking the day starts with energy in the morning. The early bird gets the worm, but then again, worms like higher brain function. Here, Max, I brought you a present. Have some milk.
Oh my, thanks.
So how are you today, right?
Well, I've got the feeling that today I'm going to face off against the real culprit.
You mean Acro?
Huh? You think he did it? Well, that was surprisingly blunt.
Be careful. He's used to putting his life on the line, literally. He's got guts to spare.
All I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is. I'm used to that already. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses.
What are you going to do then, Nick?
I guess today we'll just have to do without our usual psychological warfare. Today we'll rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth.
You're right, but it's gonna be tough.
Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Then she will finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father.
You want us to make sure Regina watches?
Yes, that's why I brought her here to court today.
What's that supposed to mean?
She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars.
Unless they go to Raccoon City. I am so funny. Entschuldigung. December 30, 10 a.m. Okay, bring it on, Franziska.
Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Trillion Galactica.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well, Miss Von Karma, you may proceed with your case.
The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events.
What's the meaning of this?
We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime.
Order. I had a feeling something like this would come up.
Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises. In fact, my detectives stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders. Lass mich raten, Gumshoe? Poor Gumshoe.
Very well, please call your witness to the stand.
Time to get to work, or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. Passt da überhaupt hin? Name and occupation. Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Acro. I'm employed as an acrobat at the very big circus. Where were you the night of the crime? The only detective we seem to have. Yeah. I was in my room that night. If you look at the map, you will see the witness's room is near the crime scene. Ich vergesse immer, sieht man die Maus in Steam? Im Stream? Nee, ich glaube nicht. My room is on the 3rd floor. The crime scene is below my window. Ich weiß, ich kann in OBS einstellen, dass man die Maus sieht, aber dann habe ich manchmal auch das Gefühl, dass es nervt, wenn sie die ganze Zeit da ist. The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed, dear witness? Okay. Well, let's see. Oh. What? Entschuldigung. Ich habe gerade aus Versehen das Twitch-Fenster weggemacht. So. It was just after 10 p.m. and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind. But that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming. And Gundam? Gundam war aber einiges dümmer. Sehr nett. Ich merke, du hast immer noch eine so hohe Meinung von Gundam Tanaka. When I saw that, I thought I was dreaming.
I am Gundam Tanaka. This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clone.
If that is the case, there's very little the prosecution need add. All that is left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night. Oh, Phoenix fängt schon an. Before we get that far, I would like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. Nani? Wie unsere Japanischlehrerin immer sagen würde. Hi. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did.
Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness's testimony?
In the words of Mrs. von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened.
Very well, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Ja, dann pressen wir erstmal, ne? Mir fällt jetzt sonst nichts ein. You said that you were resting in bed. One would thus assume that you turned the lights off in your room, correct? That is correct. But there are safety lights around the outside of the lodging house. It's so bright, sometimes it can make it hard to sleep.
If that's the case, wouldn't it be a good idea to close some curtains?
I never really thought of that. I guess that means I'm off to buy some curtains.
Sometimes I do make myself useful in these chambers.
Was heißt denn hier sometimes? Es ist nicht eigentlich dein verdammter Job. Oh! The witness will proceed with his testimony. Ich weiß nicht, wenn der Richter schon sagt,
hey, manchmal bin ich halt auch noch so was gut,
sollte man vielleicht woanders hingehen, um die Gerichtsverhandlung abzuhalten. Also, das large thump noise from outside the window. Your room is on the 3rd floor, right? Yes. And you said that you were resting in bed. That is correct. But you were still able to hear a sound from outside. I was indeed. Pressing Acro doesn't seem to get results. But maybe something was contradictory in what he said just now. Mir fällt jetzt nichts ein. Ich press erstmal weiter.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. Until I can find a clear contradiction, I should treat lightly. Then a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. Are you sure it was a human being? It could have been a mannequin, or perhaps a large action figure. Well, setting aside the possibility of a mannequin, an action figure is plausible. You have no need to mince words with Mr. Phoenix, right? Testify to the truth and only the truth, just as if we were there with you that night. I believe it was a human. Damn, I just strengthened his testimony. I wonder if Acro's statement jives with the facts. Ich probiere es mal. Nothing. Yeah, tread lightly. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. The light in your room was turned off then, right? That is true. I was going to bed after all. So with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window. The safety lights lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front.
Did you see any of the other symbols?
I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his... Oh, da hast du nicht aufgepasst, Acro. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica. Aber ich erinnere mich noch, nämlich hieß es doch, dass, ich kann es mal eben zeigen, Silk Hat, made to order hat, that is a symbol of Max's fabulousness, found at the crime scene. Der lag ja daneben, hieß es. Oh, falsches Foto. Na, jedenfalls, the more I press him, the less results I seem to get, but maybe there was something fishy with his latest bit of testimony. There is a contradiction. There's a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given. Ach ja, heute ist Ray's Rescue übrigens nicht da. Der ist in Urlaub oder so. Aber dafür ist Christian da. If there is a contradiction, then prove it with evidence.
She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction?
Oh, I do. You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that? What do you mean? The silk hat. What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window. Well, you should have tried looking down out of your window that night. That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I am in. Just looking outside of the window was a tough enough challenge for me. That's a shame because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene. That is the ringmaster's head, right? Afraid not, no matter how you look at it. This is Max's silk hat.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? Are you saying that Max has two silk hats?
No, this is a handmade one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means, Acro, that you've been fibbing on the stand.
Order, order!
As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick? Well, I opened my big mouth and now I have to back it up.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court today?
Sollen wir jetzt echt einfach direkt das dritte sagen? Ich meine, wir sind ja noch nicht mal ansatzweise in die Richtung gegangen, aber wenn ich jetzt direkt das dritte sage, hält der Richter mich doch langsam für einen Irren. Andererseits nehme ich an, das tut er sowieso schon. Your Honor. On this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself. On this occasion?
Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of?
Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry.
Mr. Wright, are you serious?
Deadly serious, Your Honor. I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab at an audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book.
Really?
If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to almost be scary. He is staying rather calm and collected.
Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense's accusation?
I do not really need to say a thing, do I?
What do you mean?
Everyone, take a good look at me. I cannot even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house.
That is true.
I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder of all things. See, even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous. Das hat uns jetzt wohl keine Punkte eingebracht.
She's right. Way to pick on the disabled, you heartless, cruel man.
Phoenix is a booby head.
See that, Mr. Phoenix Wright? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that is enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well? I can hear the defense now.
Acro had an accomplice.
What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice? Accomplice?
Ich glaube nicht. Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. Not this time, Von Karma. What? You're not going to sucker me into this one.
What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright?
There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself.
Order! What are you getting at?
Way to keep them on their toes, Nick.
Now I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together, though. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Barry.
Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that?
I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed.
Alright, then let's do it.
Mr. Phoenix Wright, if this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right?
Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. When the crime was committed, exactly where was Mr. Dingling?
Ich nehme an, er war in seinem Zimmer, da kommt er ja nicht raus. He was obviously here the entire time.
That's Acro's room?
Pretty simple, huh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can be only one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster. What? Are you nuts?
What say you, Mr. Dingling?
Jeep.
It is an interesting theory. Wieso darf er überhaupt die ganzen Vögel mit reinnehmen? That's it. Considering that what you proposed is impossible, yes, that's it.
Mr. Wright.
Yes, Your Honor.
As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
You've got a point. It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Seine Idee war's der. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he? Stimmt, wenn jetzt nur Acro das gesagt hätte, könnte man ja noch sagen, er lügt halt, ne? Weil er halt der Mörder ist und das jetzt auf Max pinnen will. Aber Mo hat ja auch gesagt, dass er das gesehen hat. But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly. Do you mind if I ask you a question, Mr. Wright? What is it? I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I cannot leave my room, I obviously could not wear Max's costume. How did you do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. Be careful, Nick. If you mess up here... She's right, I can't mess up here. I've got to give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster, and he did it while he was in his room. No doubt about it.
Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingling committed the crime, Mr. Wright.
Ich präsentiere mal was. Ich habe eine Idee. I'm going to present some evidence.
So what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Barry?
Der Löwen. Nein. Den Affen? Nein, auch nicht. Könnte es nicht sein. Wo ist denn das Ding? Ich nehme an, er hat den Hut genommen und hat ihn mit dem Hut ermordet. Nein. Hat die Büste... Ach, Moment, die Büste hat ja schon einen Hut. Naja, dann wird er der Büste den auch nicht mehr aufgesetzt haben. Aber ich nehme an, er hat einen Mantel um die Büste gehängt und die Büste von oben runterfallen lassen. Und die ist dem Ringmaster dann sowas von heftig auf den Kopf geknallt, dass es eigentlich ein Wunder ist, dass da nicht überall voll ein eklige Gehirnsblätter rumlag. Gut, da. Das präsentiere ich jetzt. Ich war mir gar nicht sicher, was ich präsentieren soll. Ich hatte erst gedacht, das hier, weil die da ja auch im Hintergrund rumsteht. Aber dann nehme ich das.
What's that? A picture?
It is indeed. The problem is with the item that is shown in the picture. Weil die war ja auch verschwunden. Das kommt ja noch hinzu. In der Cafeteria sollte die ja eigentlich rumstehen, aber da stand sie nicht mehr.
The bust?
It's quite a large bust, and because it is life-sized, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy? Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death, especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. Yeah. Oh. See, this is how Acro was able to kill the Ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galacticus' ample bust. Die ganze Zeit so ein Kackhustenreiz, ey.
Order, order. So you're saying the bust fell to the Ringmaster?
A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit. How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible. Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust.
Mr. Tingling, how do you respond to these charges?
Well, Acro's at a loss for words. He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro. You can't run away from things this...
I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself.
Testimony, you say?
On karma. She's just using this testimony as a rouse to stall for time. There's absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond.
The defense's objection is overruled.
Why can't he see things my way once in a while?
Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony.
The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you. Now that woman will sink to any low to win a case. I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured. However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There is no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him, don't you think? Naja. Wenn er vorher die Kiste dahingestellt hat. Ich weiß es gerade selber nicht mehr, ne? Nur um das mal klarzustellen. Aber ich könnte mir vorstellen, was ist. Da war ja eine Kiste. Da war ja eine Kiste. Das sieht man auch auf dem Foto, wenn ich es wieder finde. Da. Eine Kiste, auf der der zusammengebrochen ist. Ich könnte mir vorstellen, dass Acro erst die Kiste aus seinem Fenster geschmissen hat. Und zwar halt da, wo er dann auch die Büste runterwerfen lassen würde. Dann müsste er eigentlich nur noch warten, bis die Schritte draußen verstummen und die Büste auch runterwerfen. Weil der Ringmaster wird ja wahrscheinlich die Kiste sehen und sich denken, was ist das denn? Da gehe ich mal hin. Also wurde er eigentlich dahin gerufen, um was zu besprechen. Und wenn da keiner auftaucht, geht er vielleicht aus Neugierde zu der Kiste. Irgendwie sowas in der Art vielleicht.
I have no doubts in regards to this witness's testimony.
It was impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the Ringmaster's head. A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries.
That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright?
I would still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really.
I can't let her get to me. Gotta focus. Acro is strong enough to lift up the bust. The main problem was how he could have aimed for the ringmaster's head. I wonder if he used some kind of tool to aim for the ringmaster.
That's the ticket, Nick. Show them what you've got.
I have to be careful. I have to find something that fits perfectly with the case. I don't remember us finding any sort of tool, but maybe we overlooked something. Na, ich glaube, mit der Kiste bin ich schon richtig. Ich bin mir nur gerade nicht sicher, ob ich das jetzt einfach schon hier irgendwo präsentieren kann. Ich speichere mal. So, wo ist die Kiste? Ha! Acro, you didn't really need to lean out of the window, did you?
What are you driving at, Mr. Wright?
You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling. How about you show us some evidence?
Hab ich doch gerade gemacht. But I did such a good job hinting.
Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright.
Maybe you should take a look at this. The key point here is the wooden box.
The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over.
The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here?
Who?
When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box, which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime.
I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense.
The moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean...
If the bust would have fallen upon the point marked out by the wooden box,
there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No.
Order. This is unbelievable.
Finally, some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now we just gotta keep going, and there's only one way to go from here. Forward.
So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene?
It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down.
Wow. Allow me to whip some sense into you, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box. That is why the box was so specially made. Specially made?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar feature. Die war sehr schwer, oder? Kann es sein? Ich meine, wenn die so schwer ist, dann muss man sie ja schon irgendwie in die Knie gehen oder so, um eine ganz bestimmte Position, um die, ich sag mal, aufzuheben. Ich sag nicht mal. The box has a remarkable weight.
Weight?
According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds.
Just to lift up this wooden box would have required...
Oh, I see. One would have to squat down, then lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say?
That is exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large.
The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it?
That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! Does he even bother to listen to me anymore?
I've heard what you had to say. I must admit, I am shocked at your imaginative skills.
Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza?
Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he is proposing.
What?
Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust?
Ja, in der Küche.
Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria.
Then what happened to it?
I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself. That means... You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bust from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bust from the cafeteria to my room?
Ich habe eine Idee. Ihr auch?
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright, explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria.
Yep. We definitely have a problem here, but this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happen once and for all.
All right, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bust from the cafeteria back to his room?